On the 4th of March 2017, the Bank of Ghana unveiled a new 5 Ghana cedi note with enhanced features to, among others, combat counterfeiting. The new notes become part of many legal tenders issued for various reasons in the past. AM Business Today takes a look at the evolution of the Ghana cedi in the country's economic development process, especially since its inception as a legal tender.
The cedi was first introduced after independence. In July 1957, the then leader of the government, business and Prime Minister, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, at a public function stated with pleasure that the introduction of the cedi marked the beginning of an independent monetary administration in the newly independent Ghana. A cherished dream had at long last become a reality. A new monetary authority, the Bank of Ghana, had been established. Charged with the issuing of currencies, the Bank of Ghana issued the first cedi notes and pesos in 1965. The name cedi came out of the fancy word cedie, which means cowries. These were formerly used as for currencies in ancient Ghana. Prior to the cedi, the British pound and shilling were the currency in circulation.
Yeah, we have pound, but the pound is the bigger. It's a big unit. Yeah. The peso is a smaller unit. Okay. Yeah, sometimes we confuse ourselves. If we're not using peso, the peso was part of the bigger. It was a bigger unit. So we just translated it from pence. We turn it to peso. Instead of pence, we have peso. So it has this number of pence that constitutes a pound. We even used to have the West African Currency Board, which was supposed to control both Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone, Ghana, and Nigeria. That's the English-speaking West Africa, except Liberia. Liberia has never been a colony, so they use the US dollar. That's what they use. But otherwise, we had a West Africa Currency Board, regulate currency in the country. When we became independent, we severed that relationship with the other West Africa countries.
The first cedi note bore the portrait of the first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, on the obverse and a landmark on the inverse. However, in 1967, the CPP government was overthrown and a new cedi was introduced by the ruling military government. In 1973, the new cedi in circulation was demonetized to give way to the introduction of another cedi. This currency remained in circulation till the year 2002.
Crawlings thought that all the large notes were the cause of the trouble. And so they one day closed, all borders closed. And so if you have more than 50 cedi notes and the rest in your bank, or 100 cedis, you must deposit in the bank. Otherwise you lose it. A lot of people lost a lot of money in the process. But the inflation that I'm talking about now, which Kufuor's regime came into force, and the bank had to correct, were actually created during his rule. That what he did not solve the problem. Rather, the inflation was still spiral. And you cannot go on printing money like that. And you cannot go on people counting money in billions and millions and billions. So the thing is to put some sense into the economy. It's to say that we do demonetization.
Since 2002, 2 more notes, 10,000 cedis and 20,000 cedis, were added to the money in circulation. I bet you still remember this jingle. The Bank of Ghana is changing our currency. From July 2007, our money will change. Of course, this paved way as the Bank of Ghana announced the redenomination of the cedi at the time. The cedi dropped 4 zeros, thus 10,000 to 1 new Ghana cedi. Now we ask the experts the relevance of this transitioning.
It was a necessary evil, if I can put it that way. At that point, we have reached a stage where you needed sackfuls to transact any activity. Even going to the restaurant, you needed parts and parts of the currency, and so it wasn't worth it. So redenominating to cut off some of the zeros was something that had to be done. There has been some repercussions after that as to whether it's made things more expensive and so on. To some extent, yes, things that used to be, what number of Cedis now, they use a new CD and it appears that it's almost the same thing, but price-wise it isn't. But as an economic tool, it was a necessary thing to do at that time.
Because when we remove the 4 zeros, now we have 1 CD equivalent to $1. Indeed, when we did it at first, 1 CD was actually more than $1. Yeah. It was 97 something cents to the dollar.
Pesos.
Pesos, dollar. Pesos to the dollar. Sure. And it was fantastic because at that time I was serving on the board of Rotary International, so I travel often. And I meet all the Rotarians and they were so ecstatic about Ghana, the economy of Ghana, how the economy was moving so well. And I was advising them to bring their dollars and save it in Ghana because in the US they will be getting 2.5% interest. Here we can give them 6, sometimes maybe even possibly 8% interest on the dollar.
Yeah.
So here we are. I bet the question bends on your mind. Should we have stayed with the British pound, or the Ghana cedi was a great idea, especially in times when the cedi continues to fall sharply against other major international currencies? For instance, the dollar is currently pegged at 4.6 Ghana cedi to $1.
We decided to sever our relationship with the pound when we became independent because Nkrumah wanted to show the rest of Africa that there's a country in Africa which is independent of colonial power and domination, that we have our own parliament, we have our own speaker, we have our own legislature, our own ministers, and we also have our own currency. Well, one can argue one way or the other. I was of the view that Nkrumah, being a Pan-Africanist and a man desirous of having the whole of Africa becoming independent, that perhaps he made an error. Because if he had kept the West Africa Currency Board, that would have been a means of uniting the countries together for that African unity, which I thought was something that he was so much concerned about.
As Ghana chalks 60 years of independence, a new 5 Ghana cedi note has been introduced to coincide with the 60th anniversary of the inception of the central bank. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Nashiru Isahaku, briefs us on the new currency.
Counterfeiters are always out there trying to counterfeit our monies and that of other countries, and we have to be on top of the game to ensure that that doesn't happen. So there's knowledge sharing across central banks to incorporate some of these modern security features in our notes so that we can avert any of those efforts to counterfeit our money. And this is what we are doing now, more like an experiment to capture the latest features in security, in the security space. And that's what we've done with this opportunity to commemorate 60 years of existence as a central bank.
With millions of cedis in circulation at any given time, updating security features will be a continual process. Likewise, will our currency continue to evolve to ensure a stable and a better Ghanaian economy.
And that's it for AM Business this morning. Just in case you want to get interactive, please make sure you do so. On Facebook, we have a page, Join Us on TV. We've linked that interactive Facebook page to our Twitter handle at Join Us on TV. All in all, we have to thank Sheila Tamaklo and her team for a concise and historic perspective about how it came into being, the Ghana cedi. We hope that you enjoyed the package. Please join us next time, same time on Wednesday, as we bring you another edition of the AM Show's AM Business. That'll be it. We have to take you to the simulcasting team and the studios of the SMS. That's the Joy Super Morning Show. And I hope that you enjoyed the package with great women of intellect that we have. It's up next.